Hey, what's up guys? Scythe here with TGN bringing you another Rift free-to-play video. Just hit 60 last night. Decided to give Conquest mode a try. Conquest mode unlocks at level 60, and basically if you're familiar with WoW or a couple other games, it's basically like a Tolbarad or a Wintergrass but on a much larger scale, more grand, way longer games. The game times are a little overboard. But you can come and go as you please pretty much. I'm not so sure on the party sizes. I know there was 2 or 3 raids running. It seemed like there was just massive battles and massive amounts of people. But how the conquest maps, my first impressions and how I think they work, and I guess how efficient they are. There's 3 teams. Basically, you have extractors that give your team points, and I guess give you a percentage. It's like a node of holding a node in, like, a battleground map or something. That gives you a percentage of the map, like that your team controls, like your conquest. And you'll see on the right hand side of the screen there's a little quest that keeps updating with the percentages, and also there's a kill figure there. You can either get to 65, one team get to 65%, and I'm not so sure how this works exactly because I only saw one version of it. But what ended up happening is neither team could get, or neither of the 3 teams, there's 3 teams, could get to 65% victory, which meaning they control 65% of the map and the extractors. None of the teams could pull that off. So what ended up happening is that kill clock, which is basically player kills, ticked down to basically 0, and it basically made a playoff like 5 minutes, and the team that controlled the most, basically the most extractors or percentage of the map won. I think my team ended up finishing last, like in 3rd place. So the reward, it was a 3-hour game. The reward was just kind of mediocre at best. Got about 20,000 favor, which is equivalent of honor points or Warzone tokens if you play SWTOR. So the reward is, kind of alright but especially for a 3rd place team, I guess is why the reward was so low. But yeah, 3-hour battle, that's crazy. Definitely had a lot of deaths, as you can tell in this video. Again, this is my first impression, and I don't know, the map very well. I don't know a lot of the details very good. My gear, of course, is very bad. It looks like they do booster you though, give you some items at least up to the minimum PvP set, in order so you're at least a little bit competitive. The battle playstyle is a lot like a Guild Wars 2 or SWG, those of you that have played it. Not so much a Loom. It doesn't really play like that, but it's basically your team has several raids or zergs, and you will zerg from point to point, capturing these to try to get your team percentages. You'll have a couple people trying to lead in the conquest chat. Basically, if another team starts to get too much into your territory or tries to get some key extractors, you'll reposition your forces and try and get everybody to go to defend an extractor. It does have some clashes like this that are really big. It does have some zerging just from point to point though, but you're going to have that in every world PvP. It's kind of unavoidable. It's just too big of a battle, too grand of a scale to not have huge massive armies moving together. You will see some zerg mentality, but you do get in some really good battles like this. We didn't win a lot of the battles. I was kind of surprised. Like, our team just kind of was flat in some of the battles. Some of them we just really got creamed, and like the two other teams decided just to gank up on us, and we were like defending this one extractor, and basically against one team, and then the other team came up right behind us and just crushed us, and they sat there and battled for it. So things do happen like that. It's world PvP, and especially with 3 teams, you're going to get in some weird situations. But definitely this is a fun gameplay mode. I don't know if I'll play it all the time, like if I'm just going to be obsessed with it, just out here playing, but it does exist, and it's really fun to do every once in a while and do the world PvP. As far as FPS goes, I was recording, so you're going to see you know, of course, a slower frame rate. You know, with a pretty decent computer, I'm talking like, you know, 670, 680 graphics card with i7, you're going to be looking at around 25 frames, 30 frames at best during the World PvP, or Conquest mode, I should say. It is World PvP, but it's definitely, you queue up for it and then you get teleported to the battle, so it's kind of, I guess it's considered a mode. But to me, it's a resemblance of World PvP. But you're going to get around 30 FPS, I would say, and I've adjusted every graphical setting, low, medium, and it really just changes your FPS by about 5. Recording, really struggled recording this, about 20 FPS, even it dipped lower in some situations where it's just massive groups. Good thing though, no ability delay. Even with low FPS, I did not see any kind of you know, like server side harsh lag that, you know, made abilities not go off or not register correctly. Everything seemed to operate pretty good, which is always a plus if you have FPS drop. Sometimes it's just massive server load or massive lag and your abilities don't go off. Didn't see that case. But some of the main points of this, to wrap up my first impression on this, it is a little zergy, but you're going to have that in every World PvP / big battle mode. The battles that I did encounter, which, you know, it's probably about every 10 minutes you had a really good clash, and then from that, you know, in between you had like point controlling, defending, you know, buffing the extractors, turrets around them. They have little guard turrets. So yeah, you know, you have a lot of you know, zerging from one node to another, but the battles are actually, you know, fairly decent, fairly fun. The only thing is, I wish the kill timer was a little bit lower. The 3-hour games were, that's a killer. Hopefully it's not like that all the time. If it was like a 2-hour game, yeah, I would run it, you know, non-stop. There's an hour in between conquest matches, it seems like, maybe an hour and 15. I would run it every hour and 15 if the matches didn't last 3 hours. 3 hours is crazy. Like, I seriously needed a break after this match. So the games are a little long. That's one downside that I see to it. Of course, this is my first impression just after one game. So you have to, you know, kind of take this with a grain of salt. I said zergy, good battles in PvP, long games, FPS, not too much of an issue. You're going to have a drop, but no ability lag. It's pretty good. The kill timer, I think, should be a little bit lower, but we'll see in upcoming days how I feel. You know, I'll give you guys an update how I feel about the kill timer and if the game's shortened or you know, anything like that. But it just gives you an extra variety. You have organized world PvP basically. You know, you have the Warzone modes. So it gives you kind of something else to do when you're getting bored of just grinding war zones. And this could be super fun if you have like a group, a 10-man pre-made group, and you had just enough to, you know, counter the other team. Like you could go behind enemy lines, take out objectives. Man, it would be really fun with an organized group. But if you're running solo, you just run with the main pack. It's also fine. Gonna have a beginner guide coming out for Guardian, just talking about some basic knowledge that if you guys are planning on trying out the game, things you need to be aware of. Not going to talk too much about classes, already kind of went over that a little bit. It's going to be like mounts, fastest way to level, kind of a general knowledge guide for beginners, and you know, some of the stuff you should be looking at in the early levels up to about level 30. So that'll be coming out soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this first impression video of the Conquest mode, and I will talk to you guys later.